Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hilltop Sports Report. This is episode 46 of the podcast, and we're getting to know a new coach here on the Hilltop, Coach Robin Brand, who comes over to the Ramilly after a lot of time at Mount Vernon High School. She's the new head softball coach here on the Hilltop. Lots to get to, so without further ado, let's hit the music and start the show.
Let's go Rams! Let's go Rams!
As I mentioned in my intro, Coach Robin Brand is my very special guest on this episode. Thank you, first of all, for taking the time and talking with us here on the podcast.
You're welcome. I'm very honored to be here. I've had a wonderful transition at Cornell. It's my pleasure to be here and do this for you.
So take us inside that transition, because obviously a lot of time at Mount Vernon High School, you're going to continue coaching Mount Vernon softball.
Right.
At least that's what I was led to believe. So talk about this transition period. What has surprised you? What has excited you so far here on the Hilltop?
I think the energy here, I think just the vitality of the entire college, the program, everyone that we meet, they're extremely positive. The rest of the coaches, the coaching staff, the administrative team, everybody has just been very helpful. As an educator for 30 years, I've coached for most of those 30 years, one sport or another. And I think being in Mount Vernon helps as well. I've always been a fan of Cornell College, whether it's football, whether it's volleyball, whether it's wrestling, whether it's softball. I always brought my kids here and we enjoyed it together. And, the elementary school is right by the softball field, which is the same softball field that I've coached at the high school level. And so we watch their games. We'll go out early for recess. We'll watch some of their games, or I'll stay after school and watch some of their games. And, I know their kids, I know their program, and I've just been a huge fan. So for this opportunity to present itself to me, and at this stage in my life, I thought it was a great time to take advantage of it. And then with the kids that we have here, they've just been outstanding.
That's fantastic. So a lot of points that you just said that I want to follow up on. But first off, is this community here at Cornell College. Obviously, you've experienced it from the outside looking in, but now as you're a part of this athletics department and getting to have that interview process with Coach Meeker and company, what was that like for you, and what really were those keys in making you say yes?
Well, I knew it was a positive place. They've had a lot to do with the youth in our community, which I've always had a lot to do with, and just been very proud of Cornell and what they have here. But being around all of these coaches every day, we're all kind of in the same hallway, and just the positivity that just radiates out of here is incredible. I look forward to coming every day. I've got people I can talk to. I've got questions answered when I need them answered. I can't say enough about Coach Meeker and all he's done to help with the transition and introduce me to different people. It's been great. I've just had a recruit today, and to be able to tell them the great things about Cornell College is easy to do because there's so much. And someone just said, one of the parents said today, she said the vibe here is just incredible. And I would agree with that. It's just kind of a vibe. Everyone's friendly. I've got people that are talking to me all the time and just genuinely are interested in the program and interested in the kids and interested in the coaches. So just wonderful.
What are some of the biggest questions that recruits have about the Cornell College experience at large, but also what you're going to institute in the softball program? Obviously, the block plan is right up there on the things that you have to talk about. What's that like as far as your pitch goes to prospective student athletes?
Right. The block plan is one of the best things about Cornell. And I didn't realize, I knew it was unique, and I knew it was genuine, and I knew it was very positive. But I didn't realize how incredible it is. I guess one thing as a coach that I do is I talk to my players, and I'm like, what are great things for me to tell the recruits? What should I be talking to them about? What are the best parts about Cornell? And of course they're all like, oh, our softball team, it's so much fun, and we enjoy each other, we're a family. But then the next thing they always say is the block scheduling. So they love that it's 18 to 22 in their classes. They love that they get to know their professors. They love that the fact that they feel like the professors are not going to let them fail. They can do anything for 18 days. And I think that's genuine. I think that's true. And, even the freshmen that just started, I had them talk to the recruit today, and they're like, "You're gonna love the block plan. Like, this is incredible. We get so much done. We always know when we've got class. We always know when we've got time off. Never interferes with softball, and vice versa. Softball or whatever sport you're involved in, or whatever you're involved in, it doesn't interfere with the block plan. But that is like the top thing that they enjoy about Cornell, which I think is outstanding. And I didn't realize, I guess, when I took this position, how incredible that experience is until I listened to the kids. So they're actually the best at talking to the recruits about the block plan because they've been invested in it and in all different platforms and areas.
That's fantastic. So glad that that's such a positive element of the Cornell experience. Next point I want to talk about is the field. So you have all sorts of experience playing at Van Meter Family Softball Field,
Right.
and now you're going to be able to experience that as the Cornell College head softball coach. What's the biggest thing on your mind that you want to have addressed before you go out there for the first time this upcoming spring?
Wow. Well, first of all, just having the softball field that we do is just incredible. I'm incredibly appreciative for the Van Meter family and the donations that they did for that. I don't take that lightly. That's something that we need to take care of. And I think we give back to the community. I think we're here to invest in Mount Vernon schools. We're here to invest in Cornell College. We're here to invest in our community and make this place better. Just by being here, we're running youth camps right now, once a week for 8 weeks. We're running future camps, so we're getting kids in the area involved and invested. And I think that's part of it. As far as like practices go, and what do we need to do for our kids? Like, I think the first thing was to build connections and relationships and get to know each other, because I didn't know any of the girls coming in, right, besides just watching them play last year. So that's been an incredible experience. And then we've had a couple scrimmages, and I tell you what, I was floored. Like, these kids can play. They've done a great job so far in, filling their role and being determined and holding nothing back. And I guess one of the best parts about them is they get so excited for each other. Like, they genuinely have mudita, which is vicarious joy in other people's success. And that's incredible. It's incredible to see in a program, in a friendship, and in any kind of connection that you have like that. So yeah, I guess we're gonna kind of build it as we go here, but yeah, they've done an incredible job at starting our journey.
Well, I guess you can now count this podcast as an educational experience. Mudita, where did that word come into your life from? Did you find it in a book somewhere, where would you
one
find
of my
it?
favorite coaches, Pat Murphy, he's the Alabama softball coach, originally from Iowa though, went to UNI. He is someone that has kind of put that word out. And so I love to go to national conventions and learn as much as I can. And I try to find the ones where he's speaking at, if we're honest, because I enjoy that. And yeah, I think it's just something that can really take a program from one level to another. So it's worked really well for us at the high school level. And I think these college kids really have the hang of it too.
That's awesome. You mentioned the scrimmages that the Rams played in, the Mount Mercy doubleheader a couple of weeks ago. How important is that to kind of go from practice to some game action within the fall timeline to kind of establish some things and have that on tape so that you can go back to that as you continue practices and so forth?
Yeah, well, as a coach, it was great for me because it was my first time, right, coaching at the college level too. And I wanted to see everybody play. So, like, we pitched everybody, we played everybody, had some at-bats. And it was just incredible to see them on the field and see what they could do. They played in different positions, some of them. And, just seeing how they respond to each other out there. And, yeah, I was impressed. Myself personally with the kids and their play, and I was also impressed with their leadership. I was impressed with the way they just held themselves confidently on the field and just understood their roles, and they were just positive throughout. So, we kind of had a pressure situation, bases loaded at the end of the second game, and we just had we made the plays, we flat out made the plays, and they did awesome and held them. And Yeah, they did things that I didn't know they were going to do this soon, because it was really only about 3 weeks into our fall training. So what's that, like nine practices or so we'd had. So it wasn't that much time together.
Yeah, throw it into the fire and see what happens, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so next part, you mentioned going into this experience here at Cornell and kind of establishing your culture. What does a Robin Brand coached softball team look like out there? What are some of the things that we can expect as fans and as student athletes here on the Hilltop, just as the Rams get into this new era? What are some of the things that are non-negotiables in your program?
Well, I believe culture isn't one thing. It's everything. I think culture is in what you say, what you do, what you don't say, what you don't do. It's the way you treat your teammates, your coaches, people you don't know, friends, family. I think it's everything. And I think having a positive culture really sets you up for success. I think that's something, like, you start putting other people in front of yourself instead of thinking about me all the time. You think about, like, what can I do for my teammates? How can I score her? How can I get on so she can score me? How can I move around the bases? That pitcher is working her rear end off. Like, I am diving after that ball. And it just all of a sudden just morphs into something that's pretty incredible to watch. So I would love to see that excitement. I would love to see that I'm going to put my teammates in front of myself all the time, and you're all in all the time. So I believe it's a ripple effect, and the more positive leaders you can have on that team will help you to create a positive culture. So and work ethic is, just being gritty. Like, that's all part of it. So
That's awesome. So softball environments are unique. There's so much energy always going on in the dugout. I have to ask, are you the type, hopefully, yes. So if you don't, then there's a big problem. So are you the type of coach that gets involved in those cheers? Are you part of the decision process for that? Because I've always wondered about how they come up with all these different cheers, because it's constant throughout the course of a 7-inning game. I don't think they're silent for more than 5 or 6 seconds at a time. So take us inside that.
So that was incredible at Mount Mercy. I had never heard any of those cheers before. I hadn't listened to them. And honestly, I don't notice that. I don't notice that much just because it's not that part of the game for me, but it's like energetic, right? And it keeps them positive. It keeps them in the game. It keeps them ready all the time. And it keeps them focused, if we're honest too. And you have to have that throughout the entire game. So no, I don't plan any of that. That is all them. They are like incredible kids. They come up with the wittiest, funniest, most energetic things to do and say, and I just appreciate it, right? Just a lot of gratitude, I guess, for who they are and what they bring to the program.
Yeah, and deceptively tongue-twisting, too. Like, last year, we had Peyton Serrata in here for a preseason interview, and I was trying to ask a question about battle, baby, battle, baby, battle, baby, battle, which is one of the cheers.
Could be.
And I went a little bit too quick, so as you can imagine, that didn't go as well as it could have. But yeah, I've always been struck by the enthusiasm shown in dugouts, so obviously with you at the helm, that's going to continue. So talking about superstitions now, because baseball, softball, people can get a little nutty. So are you the superstitious type? And if you are, what are some of those game day superstitions that you have to do?
I'm not.
You're
at
not?
all. I believe you create your own luck. I believe you prepare well enough to set yourself up for success. However, I've had like so many kids in the past that like give me their old ratty batting gloves or give me their dirty socks that they've worn for like everything, or their old visor, like they have to do this. And I've heard like so many different stories about what kids do to prepare. And I think that'll be a lot of fun to hear. You were talking about Peyton, like I know she has to have a cherry Coke before every game, and I'm like, what? But yeah, just different things like that kids have to do. But me, nothing. I just gotta be ready. I tell them to get at their 7. That's where I want to be. It's kind of at your best self, ready to go.
Yeah, well, luck favors the prepared. That's what
right.
the saying goes. So,
right.
Next question for you is about your family. So, everybody within your family has been involved in Division III athletics.
They have, yes.
How important is Division III sports specifically to you and your family?
Right. I think Division III, I think you can't beat it, right? you have so many opportunities available for you. I believe you just have such a strong connection with the coaches. All 4 of my kids have had just a tremendous experience at the D3 level. You know, you can do it all still. Like, you can still be involved in what you want to do. You can get your classwork done. But it's just been amazing. I can't speak highly enough of it. And my husband and I were both, you know, D3 as well. And that's what I would promote. I believe it just leads to a strong, well-rounded student athlete. And when it comes down to it, like, it prepared them for life after college. I mean, one's still in college, but prepares them for life after college. I think if they can handle, like, the time, the dedication, just being gritty and getting that work done and talking to their coaches, talking to their teammates, you know, just on a daily basis, handling the struggles, handling, you know, situations that you have to work through and come out in a positive way, and always, you know, keep things in perspective. Like, gosh, there's just so many different things that they can use in the future. So
You mentioned that you were a Division III athlete. So at Central College, you played softball. What was the most important moment in your career that really shaped your passion now for coaching and education?
I would say just the competitiveness of the sport. I hadn't been around that before. And my coach that was there too. I think I just learned a lot during that time. So yeah, I would say both the competitiveness of softball, learned to love it even a little bit more, and then the coach that I served under.
So taking this now, you mentioned that you coached and have taught at the high school level. What are some of the parallels between teaching in the classroom, but then also going out there and being coach?
Yeah. So I actually just taught 30 years, all 6th grade on down. So mostly it was early childhood, it was special education, it was 1st grade, it was 4th grade, it was 5th grade. I did it all except for 3rd grade, but never got up to the high school level. And I loved it because you'd leave these little kids, then you'd go to the high school, and then it kind of balanced itself out, and you'd go back to the youth. But it's just incredible to see how much they grow in that time, and to see them when they're young and then have them later in high school, and then to watch them go out into the world. But then I've got all these, you know, athletes I've coached that have gone to, you know, different D1, D2, D3, you know, NAIA colleges, and then you don't see them again that often until they get older. So I just think it's so cool that now I am able to experience like the college athletes and see them as they grow and continue on in this process. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to, is just the impact that all of this has on them.
Yeah, and at Mount Vernon, obviously a lot of your athletes went on to play collegiately as well, so that's very interesting as well. Take us inside the 2022 state title run. What was that emotion like when you finally won the championship?
Oh my gosh. Well, we were playing the same team, Davenport Assumption, that we played the year before in 21. And we lost, and it was 10-5. And in 22, we were coming back. We're going for them again in the championship game, and they kind of started to run on us again. But we held them, and we won 10-5 that game. So it was incredible. It was actually it was incredible. My daughter was an assistant coach. My other daughter was on first base, and you know, I had kids on that team that were going on to play, you know, D1 soccer, and we're going on to play like D3 soccer, and we're going on like softball. Like, they had everything that they were doing, and it was all just different sports, different areas, different levels, and so it was just really incredible in that sense.
That's very interesting too, and a question that I do want to ask you is, so the Iowa softball and baseball seasons go on in the summer, and for those of you who don't live in the state of Iowa, you might be thinking, how does that work? So when you're talking about these different athletes who are going on to play collegiately, they didn't have a whole lot of time after the season was done to go to college.
It was like 1 week.
Exactly. Yeah. So what is that like as a coach, and what is that like for athletes to be playing a high school sport within the summer?
Well, we don't know any different here. So they do that. But it is very busy because they actually start while the spring sports are going. So there's like a month of crossover there for all track and soccer athletes. But yeah, luckily, the Iowa Girls Coaches Association now has 1 week that's like a dead week. So no matter what, after they're done with their season, then they have a week off before they start like volleyball or football or cross country or whatever. So that's really nice. But those going to college need to go right away usually.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
short summer.
Yeah, very. You've been talking about getting to know the different student athletes on your team, but also you've been getting to know Coach Hannah Kelnicki, and you've been working with her. You were talking with her just before we started recording. So describe your relationship with her and what she brings to the staff.
Coach K is outstanding. She really is. She does all the little things behind the scenes. She's great as far as like a hitting coach goes, and her relationship with the kids. She's always very positive. She's always willing to help out. And, she's been here. She's been here for 3 years. So she knows a lot of those things that I'm still learning right now. She's just up for anything. And the girls all love her. So it's just been great. She's someone that I really didn't know before I started this position. And now I just appreciate every day. So I try like every single day. I'm like, thank you so much, Hannah. I really appreciate this. Because, she just does so much for our program and for the girls and I. So.
That's awesome. So my final question to you is this. Prepare yourself. So we know that you're a fantastic softball coach. You've been an assistant volleyball coach. You've taught, obviously, as you mentioned, throughout your time on this podcast. What is something about Coach Robin Brand that people don't know that you're really good at?
Wow. Save the best question for last, right?
Got to cap it off with the highest question. Yes.
Well, let's see. I did an Ironman last year.
Did an Ironman?
Yeah.
Take us inside that. What is an Ironman competition for those who don't know?
It's 140 miles total. So it's like a 2.5 mile swim, and it was in the Sacramento River. And then
2.5 mile swim, just casually.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't very casual. It was actually really cold that day. And then you bike. I think it's like 112, and then you run a marathon at the end. So that's one of my biggest accomplishments, I would say, as an individual. And yeah, the other one, I have triplets, and then I have a younger daughter as well too. So
you were busy then.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. So we did not know, one thing we did not know at the start of this podcast that we now know is Coach Robin Brand. You don't want to mess with her. She's an Ironman competitor. Okay. Yes. Well, anything else that you want to share with our podcast audience before we step aside?
No, I think just showing appreciation for the fact that I get to be here every day and the interactions that I'm able to have, the student athletes that I'm meeting and the students and the faculty that I'm meeting. It's just been an incredible experience. Anyone that's like, how do you like your job? How do you like your job? And I'm like, well, I don't even feel like it's a job. Like they text me to go pitch to them down on the field, 80-degree weather, and I'm out there playing softball. Like, it's just incredible. It's something I get to do every day. So it's been outstanding.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time here on this podcast, and best of luck for the rest of the fall and going into your first year here on the Hilltop.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. So on behalf of Coach Robin Brand and our podcast studio audience, I'm Jumpin' Jack Carlson signing off from this episode of the Hilltop Sports Report, inviting you to tune in next time when we interview the new men's lacrosse coach here on the Hilltop. Without further ado, let's hit the music and close out the show. Thanks for watching, everybody.